The weather is warming up, so you know what time it is. It's baseball season. The MLB is already undergoing spring training, but the regular season quickly fires upon us. We can only predict who will come out on top. Welcome back to Sports Night, where we quick fire MLB standing predictions in every division for the upcoming MLB season. I am Cora Rodriguez alongside Joey David and Jeremy Rose. Let's start off with the East. Joey, let's start off with your predictions for the AL and NL.
All right, we're going to start quickly in the AL East, going over to the Yankees. And I think Juan Soto is the reason that the Yankees have the edge. I think the Yankees are going to use him to really extend this lineup that needs help. They just got to stay consistent and they got to stay healthy. Health is most important. Now going over to the O's, I love the young firepower and they have more coming up. So I expect them to stay in second and do a great job. Moving on to third, I have the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays and the Rays, they're very similar. I like the Blue Jays pitching rotation just a little bit more. So I put them above the Tampa Bay Rays. Last is the Boston Red Sox. They're still retooling, and I think their pitching rotation needs a load of work. Now, moving over to the NL, I have the Atlanta Braves up in first, and I don't think that's really up for debate. They're pound for pound the best roster, top to bottom in baseball, and if they're not one, they're two. Second, you have the Titans, the Phils. They're going to have a similar season to last year, I feel like, where they're still not going to be good enough for the Braves, but they're going to be good enough to get second place and probably creep into the wild card. The Mets are going to Met. They did put in a bunch of good work, and I'm really excited to see what this team has. The big thing is Francisco Alvarez is going to pop off, and he's going to show the MLB how good he really is. But two people that I really want to see do well this season are actually former Yankees in Luis Severino and Harrison Bader, where if they can step up and go back to the form that most people know from their prime, they will be huge. Moving over to number 4, the Marlins, they still have a bunch of young talent. I just don't think they're up in that echelon yet. And the Nationals are still retooling. While they do have a bunch of great young pieces, I just don't think they're ready yet.
Yeah, I think for my standings at least, once again, we're going to switch over to the AL East. My standings do look pretty similar to yours. Obviously, Juan Soto is the big acquisition here that puts the Yankees, propels them up to that number 1 spot. The rotation has to stay healthy. The bullpen has to stay healthy. All the big pieces have to stay healthy. If they stay healthy, this is the Yankees' division to lose. As for the Orioles, Jackson Holliday, I'm looking for him to come up in maybe even May this year, have a big impact. Him, Rutschman, they're going to pop off, put up big numbers, keep the O's in that second spot. With the Blue Jays, they've got Bo Bichette, they've got Kevin Gausman. Gausman with another Cy Young year on the way, in my opinion. He's going to put up those numbers. He's going to compete for that Cy Young. Bo Bichette's going to have another replicated season. The Rays, are going to fall. They succeeded last year. They've got some problems this year. They lost Glasnow, and their rotation to me isn't as sturdy as it is. Spring's coming off of that injury. He's not going to be as good as he was to start off last year. And the Red Sox are a dumpster fire. There's no saying anything else about them. They've got a lot of retooling to do, a lot of work to do. Easy as that. Over to the NL East with the Atlanta Braves. They're the best team in baseball. You've talked about this, the best roster in baseball, top to bottom. Their lineup is scary. And, with Max Fried at the top of their order, at top of their rotation, Spencer Strider, nobody else is going to compete with them. The Phillies, though, are going to put up a competitive fight. This division is going to be exciting. It always is. With the New York Mets, they've got potential. Steve Cohen's got the money. We've got to see what they do with it. Kodai Senga, I think another Cy Young caliber pitcher on their roster. Everybody's got to stay healthy. Alonso's got to, produce the way he should. And then the Nationals, of course, and the Marlins are kind of in similar spots here. Both young rosters, not a whole lot of talent all throughout their lineup, all throughout their rotations. They've got some work to do with the Nationals. I think their main goal this year needs to be getting Dylan Cruz up as fast as humanly possible. Work him up, get him to AAA by the end of the year, and maybe they can compete for something next year with him in the MLB.
Definitely.
I love both of your predictions. Even though they're very similar, I love how you guys both put in both of your kind of intakes on both of them. But let's head over to the Central. Let me start with you, Jeremy.
Yeah, with the AL Central, I've got the Guardians at the top of the AL Central. Jose Ramirez, Shane Bieber, they've got some pieces. They're going to keep doing what they do. Obviously, the AL Central is a weak division. It has been weak, but I think it's going to be a little bit stronger this year thanks to that second place team. That's the Kansas City Royals. Bobby Witt Jr., I'm going to mark this down right now. He will finish top 5 in the AL MVP voting. I am very, very high on Bobby Witt Jr. I think he's going to put together a great year. As for the Twins in that 3 spot, I don't think that they exactly have the pieces that everybody thinks they have. Buxton hasn't been healthy his entire career. If he does stay healthy, maybe they have a chance to put up some numbers, slide in that 2 spot behind the Guardians. Their pitching is, a little bit better, but I really don't think that Joe Ryan is the ace that anybody needs at the top of their, rotation. And for the Tigers and the White Sox, the Tigers have a little bit more potential, in my opinion, just because of their young pieces. They've got Torkelson, they've got Green, some guys who can put together some competitive at-bats, win them some ball games. The White Sox, they're going to sell at the deadline. Luis Robert is gone. Dylan Cease, I think, will be gone as well. They might as well just start rebuilding now, because if not, they're just going to keep falling lower and lower. As for the NL Central, I've got the Cubs at the top of my list. They've got Justin Steele, who pitched great last year. I think he's going to get even better this year. They just re-signed Bellinger. They've got pieces all throughout their order, all throughout their rotation. Their bullpen is solid as well. I think they're taking this division. And my surprise picks, I know the Pirates and the Reds ahead of the Cardinals. The Pirates and the Reds, both similar teams, both young rosters, lots of talent. The Pirates have been absolutely killing it in spring training this year. Power numbers off the charts. Henry Davis has been hitting out of his mind. They've got good rosters all throughout. Some young guys who are going to keep getting better. They played good last year, especially on the Reds. Ellie De La Cruz, Spencer Steer. Some guys who are going to step up and play even better this year. Both teams have pitching issues, a couple questions here and there, but I think they can pull it together, especially if Paul Skeens makes his way to the majors. And I think the window for the Cardinals is very near the end or completely gone. Arenado and Goldie, they're getting up in age. They're not going to play exactly as good as people think they're going to play. Obviously, they're getting older. The pitching there's some question marks. Sonny Gray is obviously an option as well. And Tommy Edman, to me, is just not the guy. And as far as the Brewers in last place, they've got nothing. They have really, obviously there's Devin Williams, so there's only so much he can do as the back end of the bullpen. There's just no answer there for the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, and I love that you finished off talking about pitching, because I'm going to go right into pitching with the AL Central here. And looking over here, I also have the Guardians at first, and I think the Guardians are going to be first just because they're going to pitch their way into the top. I love the homegrown talent. I love having all 5 pitchers in the rotation being guys that they brought up. I love having those in-house guys. And how I have the Guardians at 1, I have the Twins at 2, because I believe they're going to pitch their way out of first place. I don't like their rotation. Just like you said earlier, it's not very strong. Joe Ryan is not the number 1 guy. They need to sign one of those lasting guys off the street and make them one of their guys. Now, Detroit, the big thing for them, Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson need to arrive, and if they can get Jack Flaherty to be a shell of his former Cy Young caliber pitcher self, that would be huge for this team. Kansas City, I love their infield, but I feel like the roster's not there yet. They need some of their pitching prospects whose ETA is going to be this year to really move up the ranks, and someone's got to be a hit. And then the White Sox, just as you said, they're going to sell Dylan Cease, and they just need to fix everything on that team. Moving over to the NL now, I like the Cardinals. I think they have the most complete roster, and it's very close with the Cubs. So between the Cardinals and the Cubs, I think the only thing that really sets them apart is just that they're more complete. But for the Cubs, I think Dansby Swanson needs to get his bat off his shoulder more to help out Cody Bellinger. Now, moving over to the Reds, I kind of like the Reds. They have a bunch of young talent that I feel like can really work together and build into something better, but they're still a couple pieces away. Moving to the Brewers, they shipped a lot of guys off. Their rotation scares me, and I think they need a retool, and they just got to wait for all these younger guys to really come up and make a bigger impact on this team. Finally, the Pirates they need time. They're going to be a lot higher, but once Paul Skeens comes up, they're going to be a team that really can open some eyes in the MLB.
Let's keep on going with this momentum. Let's go to the West now. Joey, I'll start with you.
Starting with the Houston Astros, this team is going to be deadly. I mean, they added Josh Hader, arguably the best closer in baseball. That just made that team so much better, and they're going to be in a great position. Now, moving over to the defending champion, Texas Rangers, I think this team's lineup is what gets them there. I think they really do need Jordan Montgomery back if they're going to do damage and even get to that second place role, because the Mariners are not that far behind. The Mariners are a very strong team. I just believe the Texas Rangers lineup is a little bit better than theirs. The Angels are a dumpster fire, and they need to free Mike Trout. That's about it. They need to free Mike Trout. Moving over to the A's, another dumpster fire. They're focusing on Las Vegas. Now moving over to the NL, I have the Dodgers, obviously at first. They have Ohtani now. They have Tyler Glass now, as you said earlier, who's shipped off from Tampa Bay. And they have Yamamoto. That team is disgusting, and they're going to play a lot of winning baseball this season. Then moving down, the team that eliminated the Dodgers, I have the Diamondbacks. I really love this young core, and I want to see what they can keep doing, and they can just keep developing these really young, talented players. And now moving over to third place, where I have the Padres. The one thing about the Padres is I know Soto's gone, but there's still star power. They need their top-end pitching to really help them out. Moving down now to the Giants in fourth place. Matt Chapman's going to help a lot. He is going to help, but they need to work better, and they need more star power because they have a lot of holes that were not filled in the offseason. And then finally, the Rockies. The Rockies need a lot of help, and their lineup just doesn't look good. I don't care that you're hitting in Coors Field. They're not good enough to hit it out of the park that much anyway.
Yeah, for me in the AL West, my AL West looks relatively similar. I've got the Astros on top. You talked about it. They've got one of the best teams in baseball, lineup 1 through 9, one of the best 1 through 3s in baseball. The Mariners on the other side have one of the best 1 through 4s in baseball. They've got Castillo, they've got George Kirby, two of the headliners on that roster and on that rotation. I think the Rangers take a step down this year. I don't think they're going to make it back to the playoffs, which is a little shocking. They had the lineup for it, but I don't think their rotation is going to replicate what they did last year. Like you said, with the Angels, free Mike Trout, and with Oakland A's move to Las Vegas, end of story for those two teams. Once again, over to the NL West. Mine looks exactly the same as yours does. I've got the Dodgers to the Diamondbacks to the Padres, the Giants and the Rockies. Dodgers, best team in baseball. The Diamondbacks, they have the young studs to do it. Their pitching needs to hold off like it did last year. The Padres also have the star power to do it. Their star power obviously is making a lot more money than Diamondback star power is, and they need to start producing the way they should have been producing when they were first signed by the Padres. The Giants, I don't think they have much outside of Logan Webb signing a Matt Chapman. Couple iffy guys, but they're not going to carry any lineup. I've got them slotted into the fourth place. And the Rockies, every other team comes into Coors Field and, quite frankly, rocks the baseball better than they do. And they're stuck in last place for a long, long period of time.
I agree with both of those predictions. It will be interesting to see if these predictions will spring into fruition or be completely off, but only time will tell. For now, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Penn State Sports Night, and follow us on our social media. Comment down below to see if you agree or disagree with these predictions. For Joey David and Jeremy Rose, I'm Cora Rodriguez, signing off.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
For more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like, and follow our socials down below.
And as always, we are
Penn State Sports Night.